Hello and welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trash pieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
This is actually a little awkward. We went on a film's reputation thinking we were going to have another bad film for you this week, and we sort of haven't, in a weird way.
We kind of enjoyed this film, but not in a so bad it's good way. We kind of liked it. I mean, there's parts of it that are iffy, but overall, it's not that bad.
Well, when we announced this earlier, Tom Halloween Guy on Instagram commented before we watched the film saying that he watched it was a lot of fun. And I thought, oh god, here we go. We've got another bad film that people love. People are going to hate us. But he's not wrong. We're talking about Virus this week from 1999. Directed by John Bruno. And it bombed on a budget of $75 million. It bombed quite a bit.
I can imagine it bombing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit here and say this is a cult movie.
I don't know if it's a cult film.
I mean, we were just making comparisons to Event Horizon. Event Horizon is a cult film, as in I don't believe that Event Horizon did particularly well at the box office, but it's garnered a following. I don't think this one has so much. But
John Bruno, the director, he's done a lot of visual effects for James Cameron. I mean, that really shows in this. Yeah. You can really see that.
The CGI's iffy, but the practical effects...
The practical effects are incredible. He directed Heavy Metal, the animated film from the 80s, and he directed Terminator 2 3D, the Universal Studios ride that everyone loves.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
He also did visual effects for the Twilight series and Movie 43, that masterpiece.
What did that need visual effects for?
If I remember, I think Hugh Jackman had testicle chins.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
I think Hugh Jackman had testicles for his chin. Or something like that.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, apparently Jamie Lee Curtis has called this... Well, not apparently, she has called this the worst film ever made, a piece of shit, and she said that she takes it to bad movie nights. Now... Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis is one of my favourite actresses. I worship the ground she walks on. This isn't even the worst Jamie Lee Curtis film.
It's not, no.
I mean...
That would be Christmas with the Cranks.
Has she seen Christmas with the Cranks or Halloween Resurrection? You know? I don't understand how she thinks this is the worst film ever made. Does she not watch many films?
Yeah, looking at the trivia, it seemed that she didn't have a great time making this film.
No.
She actually tried to get the director replaced by Steve Miner, who had just directed her in Halloween H2O. So I think maybe for her there's a little bit of bias there because she just hated making the film so much that it's the least favourite of her films.
And you can't even tell when you watch it though that she didn't have a great time because she, does her best as always.
Yeah, of course. She's a professional.
A bit of funny trivia here. Initial prints of the film were confiscated by TSA because they were called Virus.
And I was going to make a joke and says they should have kept it, but I won't.
You can't now.
I can't now. I can't. Because it was fun. It was a fun film.
All three lead actors were part of famous families. We have Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. William Baldwin, one of the many Baldwins. And, of course, Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland's dad. Donald Sutherland's the worst thing about this film.
He is, actually.
Donald Sutherland, he actor of Don't Look Now.
Yeah, he is one of these that phones it in, and in this film. I find Donald Sutherland has been in some absolute masterpieces.
Yeah.
Don't Look Now is one of my favourite films. He was in MASH. He was in Clute. Some real great films. We watched Ordinary People the other day. Mm-hmm. And he was good in that. He was very good.
He was in Fanatic. Or Die, My Darling, as it's known in America.
Oh, God, we watched that as well. He plays a mentally handicapped man. Yeah, so I think...
And even that was a better performance than this.
I feel like Donald Sutherland is never the best thing of any of the films that he's in. I find. And he's been in some great films. He's been in some rubbish as well. I think he's one of these actors that just... If somebody offers him a part, he goes for it. And hopes for the best.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does work out for him, obviously.
Yeah, just not this time.
Just not. No. I don't think he knew what he was doing.
No. This is actually a comic book film, which is interesting. A Dark Horse comic book, and it was the only reason it was turned into a comic book is because it was originally a script, but at the time it was written, there wasn't really any facility for the special effects it needed, so they turned it to a comic book, and then once special effects had evolved a bit, they made it. This is John Bruno's. I think it's his feature length debut. I mean, I don't think Heavy Metal's being counted as a feature length according to IMDb.
I suppose it's an animated.
I don't know if it was TV film or I'm not sure, but this is classed as his first feature length film, and he did this just before making Titanic, doing the visual effects for it. It was made into a third-person action horror shooter game for PlayStation that had very little to do with the film. And what's really interesting is that it was a dump month movie. It was a January horror film.
Yeah, and it didn't do well.
It didn't do well.
No.
But I mean, compared to other January horror films, bye man. This is nowhere near as bad.
A little question for you, Gary.
Yeah.
What does this film and Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, have in common?
It takes place on a boat throughout the entire film.
It's advertised to not take place fully on a boat.
Holy shit.
If you look at the poster...
It looks like it's in space.
It looks like it's in space. It looks like an Alien ripoff. There's a fucking spaceship there.
Oh, that's very misleading.
And the whole of this film takes part on a boat. It does.
It takes part on a boat?
Takes place on a boat. Oh yeah, takes place on a boat.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so that's something it has in common with
Jason Takes
Manhattan. Fucking hate that film.
Oh, equally as entertaining.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Well, the plot is when the crew of an American tugboat... Tugboat, I've never heard that name for a boat before.
A tugboat?
Yeah.
No, that's a real thing.
Huh. When the crew of an American tugboat boards an abandoned Russian research vessel, the alien life form aboard regards them as a virus which must be destroyed. Do you know, I've not got alien wrote down in my notes once. It's just keep referring to it as robot or virus.
I kept saying robot as well. Yeah, no, but the humans were the virus.
So if you take alien... aliens, this is definitely more aliens. If you take aliens, Terminator, and
Speed
the Thing, 2, Cruise Control, and The Thing, mash them together, this is your film. This is what you got.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's got no originality.
No.
But it steals from all of those films and creates entertaining pieces of cinema.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say it creates a mess. It's not that messy.
Well, it starts off with a title card and another title card straight after saying Space Event Ship, Academic Vladislav Volkov, South Pacific, and then we get a bunch of space stuff, boat stuff, chess, and a character we'll later find out is called Nadia sucking a pen whilst looking at a fancy man in space. Yeah,
there's a little bit of... So we're introduced to this boat. The virus title card is like 8-bit looking. So you know you're definitely getting a sci-fi film. We're introduced to the space event ship, Academic Vladislav Volkov, and it's somewhere in the South Pacific. Fabulous. Then the filmmakers randomly choose what part of the Russian dialogue on this boat that we are allowed to know, because there's subtitles, but random speech is subtitled. So we don't really know what's going on. There's these Russian cosmonauts in space. One of them has a little flirt with our Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives a little flirty little look to the camera.
Yeah, shoves a pen in her mouth.
Yeah, she's reciprocating the flirting. That's about it, really. Just...
Do you know what? The first 10-20 minutes, I could not concentrate on this. It just sounded like a load of words to me. And I thought, okay, this is going to be terrible. I thought it was going to be boring. But then it just really picks up. But the first 10-20 minutes are fucking dire.
Yeah, but look, after these, weird cosmonaut parts, you get a big surge of electric purple
big
energy.
CGI cloud.
Yeah, coming towards the spaceship. And then that sends a purple lightning bolt down to the ship. And then we get screaming and mild explosions ensuing, don't we?
Yeah, and then that's the end of the Russian ship.
Yeah, that's it.
7 days later.
All those people we've been introduced to.
I know. And only one of them we'll get to see again.
That's true.
7 days later, it turns into The Perfect Storm with George Clooney. Yeah. We get a boat in the middle of a storm, and it's pulling in some cargo. And on this boat, we've got Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Kit Foster, Donald Sutherland, who plays Robert, and I can't remember his surname. Robert Everton. Budget Brad Dourif, who also looks a little like budget Woody Harrelson at the start.
Does actually.
William Baldwin.
Unexplained black eye.
Yeah, I don't know what the black eye is all about. Do you think he generally had that when he was filming?
Potentially, the actor just had a black eye. That was it.
William Baldwin plays Steve. And some other minor characters you don't get character development for, but they are in the film quite a bit because they're disposable. They're just there to be killed, essentially.
In these, it's essentially a sci-fi horror film, so people have to die.
So you got Squeaky, Richie, and Tattoo Face.
Yeah.
Didn't really get his name.
I didn't catch his name, actually. Some of the sound editing is quite bad, and I didn't quite catch certain bits of dialogue. Not sure if it was necessary, really, but he's got tattoos on his face. I believe he's Maori, and had a New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
Please, forgive me if that's incorrect.
It did sound like a New Zealand accent.
Yeah, it did, and I feel like he was Maori, or potentially some he was from an island in the Pacific Ocean.
This is when we get to hear Donald Sutherland speak. This is where the biggest problem in this film comes in. I don't know what the fuck Donald Sutherland was trying to do, but he sounded like Captain Birdseye, but half-assed.
He looked a little like Captain Birdseye.
He looked and sounded like a half-assed Captain Birdseye.
I feel like he was going for the sea captain from The Simpsons, accent-wise, and then it suddenly turned Irish. Then it was definitely Donald Sutherland just talking. I don't know what he was going for accent-wise.
I didn't get the whole conversation, but there was the moment where I realised how bad it was when he says, "That's a change I'll take." Yeah. I don't know what what he was saying it to, but I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Also, Jamie Lee Curtis is in a horrendous coat as we're introduced
she
to her
is
as well.
It's a very mum coat,
and it's very 1998, 99, and I'm not sure how old she is by this point, but she's not necessarily it's not old at this point.
No, it's kind of like a mum taking a kid to school in the raincoat.
A little bit with a choker.
Yeah,
she's got a choker on as well.
She is serving pure 90s, and that hair is it's pretty much a hair from Halloween H2O.
I love that hair on her.
Short hair.
I do. There's she's one of the ladies that really pulls it off. Very because very slick back as well, so it's very reminiscent of True Lies. The hair, particularly the famous scene where she does the little dance in the bedroom.
So there's a bit more of a complication with this cargo. Donald Sutherland ends up pointing a gun in William Baldwin's face. A lot of this is really just throwaway stuff because the cargo thing goes nowhere. It gets trashed by the storm, essentially. They lose it.
I think we're establishing... So, Donald Sutherland's desperate to keep hold of this cargo.
Yeah.
They're in this storm, a typhoon, actually. Typhoon Lear or something. And he's desperate to keep hold of this cargo. So he ends up pointing a gun in William Baldwin's face. So we're establishing straight away that Donald Sutherland's not a good guy.
No, we find out later on he'll do anything for money.
Yeah, essentially.
Even if it means selling himself to robots. This leads to a bit of a funny confrontation between Baldwin and Donald. But William Baldwin's like, ever point a gun in my face again? Donald's like, yo, what? And Baldwin says, you'll figure it out. Okay then. Are we not going to find out what's going to happen?
What was that voice you just put on?
That's Donald Sutherland's accent in this film. Sean Connery if he had a cold. We then find out Donald has an alcohol problem.
Yes, yeah.
He has a drink.
He's got all these characters have always got something like that.
Looking at a picture of his younger self, and you can see in his eyes, he's like, why the fuck did I take this role? Look at how I used to look.
Yeah.
Think of all the films I used to be in.
That's what I looked like when I did MASH.
And here I am, pretending to be Captain Birdseye. In a cheap sci-fi film. Well, it's not really that cheap, I suppose. Quite a good budget.
No.
But I mean, to Donald Sutherland, it probably was. They find out the boat is slowly sinking.
Yeah, so they end up... So they've gone through the storm and now they're in the eye of the typhoon. So I'm not a meteorologist, unfortunately. Is that even the phrase? That is totally the phrase, yeah. No, I am correct. But they're in the eye of this typhoon. So the bit in the middle of it where it's not as rough as the edges. So they're kind of, in a way, stuck there.
Yeah.
You know, they've taken damage. This boat is now sinking. Their cargo's gone. You know, what are they going to do? Donald is about to blow his head off.
He starts preparing to kill himself for some reason.
Starts preparing to kill himself and just leaving them all to it, to perish at sea, in the ocean. And Jamie Lee is a navigator in this. So her father was a navigator. Oh, little character development. Her father was the captain of his ship. I'm assuming he's passed on. And she's a navigator, so she's following her father's footsteps in the ocean, and she picks up on her radar another ship, a much larger ship, within this eye of the typhoon. So they're going over to investigate. And
then she conveniently has a book that tells her every single thing about this ship.
Yeah, so they get to the ship. And they're like, ooh, what ship's this? And then they see on the side Vladislav Volkov. Academic Vladislav Volkov in English, even though the rest of the signage on the boat is in Russian. I'm sure there's a Russian word for academic, but anyway. And she reads in her book, a big book of Russian boats. I swear it was meant to be a big book of Russian boats.
Okay. So this ship will tie directly into the film's plot.
Yeah.
There is a scene at the start of the film.
Yeah.
She may as well have said that. It's literally tells her everything about this boat.
Yeah, like the communications from space stuff and everything. This magic book tells her. So then they decide to get on the boat. Because theirs is sinking.
Yeah, they go exploring.
They gotta go somewhere. So they're exploring the boat. There's no sign of life, or there's like slinking around as if they're expecting someone to jump out. They're being really stealthy about it, and then Donald Sutherland just starts shouting.
So I know what we want to do with this boat. You know what we want to do with this, don't you? And they're like, oh, what do we want to do with it, Donald? And he's like, we want to salvage it. And Jamie Lee's having none of this. She's like, Donald, fuck off. Let's just, do whatever with this boat. We ain't salvaging it.
Yeah, so as the only female the
only sensible one, apparently.
Yeah, but, she has to differentiate herself between them because men and women can't agree on stuff.
Apart from William Baldwin, do you know what? William Baldwin, not that bad. Wasn't awful.
No, not awful. It felt like he was trying his best to look as smouldering as possible.
It looked like he was trying to be Michael Biehn in every James Cameron film he's been in.
Yeah, like a BN.
It was, yeah, he's trying his best to be him.
No, I felt he was trying his best to be Keanu Reeves in Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that sort of action hero but smouldering. He yells a fair bit.
He does.
For no reason, like the person's right next to him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do a bad job. I was kind of, I don't know if I was hoping for, but I was thinking there was going to be some sort of romance between him and Jamie Lee.
It kind of made it look like there was going to be.
It felt like it was going to happen.
I think it's kind of implied,
really
but I'm kind of glad it didn't, because, I mean, she doesn't need a love interest.
No.
Independent woman, she doesn't need no man.
No, of course not.
Yeah, so they decide they want to salvage the ship because Jamie Lee's opinion doesn't really matter,
Yeah, they're going to salvage the ship.
For 30 million.
For 30 million. So the whole idea is that if they find a ship that's unmanned, no one on it, they can essentially give it back to, in this case, the Russian government and get 10% of what the ship is worth. They figure that the ship is worth $30 million. And that they would get $300 million.
Well, you did with Donald Sutherland. 30.
$300 million, and then they would get 30 for them for salvaging the boat.
So they all go for a little walkabout.
But no, at the same time, Donald Sutherland, because Jamie Lee explains to us, because we don't know the legalities of the ocean. So she helpfully explains to the audience that that if anybody is on board, then that means you can't salvage it.
Yeah, and then Donald Sutherland implies that he'll kill whoever's on board if there is anyone.
And we know that he means business because his eyes go really wide when he says this. And therefore, we know he's up to no good.
I think Donald Sutherland...
One other part. So sorry. And we did enjoy this film, but I will pick apart certain bits. When we analyse a film bit by bit, we're going to pick up the crud with the good stuff. It's when they go onto the bridge of the boat and they open the door and birds fly out straight away for a cheap, jump scare. I hate when films do that. What, the birds just fucking... Number one, how did the birds get in there if the door's closed? Yeah.
They were coming for Donald, Captain Birdseye.
But
they were seagulls.
But how did the birds get in there?
Yeah, no, it's bullshit. There's no way they were still in
Are
there.
they just waiting for someone to open the fucking door?
Let us out!
Let us out! They just fly out.
Fucking run!
If they got in there, because I don't think they were keeping birds on the bridge. I say bridge, I'm sure that might be a Star Trek phrase. I don't know.
Maybe.
They
escaped from the ship.
You know what? We're going to stumble.
Yeah, we know on nothing about terminology. Shits. Okay, we don't edit this show, can you tell? We know nothing about ships or boats, so
so we're going to stumble over some of the terminology.
If you're a ship expert, please correct us and we'll mention it next week.
But if the birds got in there, can't they have just left the way they got in? Why are they waiting for Donald Sutherland to open the door? I hate that. Hate that in films.
Yeah.
Hate it. It's like fucking Scooby-Doo shit.
It's true. Well, they start going for walkabouts. Squeaky reveals that he thinks Jamie Lee's hot.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say something that maybe be a little controversial. I've never seen Jamie Lee as the hot actress type.
True Lies.
But if you watch True Lies, when she's being sexy, it's a clumsy kind of... she's got a beautiful figure and she's a beautiful woman, but I've never seen her... You have an actress like, quintessentially Marilyn Monroe. You know, she was the bombshell. She was hot. But, you know, people would say she's hot. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, Jamie Lee's never written to be that sort of
Jamie
character.
Lee is, and maybe that's why I've never really seen her.
Oh, Trading Places.
Written into that role. You know, she was a prosy though, wasn't she? In Trading Places. Trading Places, I don't think she was made to be, you know, the hot, sexy, slinky woman.
Yeah.
So when things like this come up, you know, and, you know, I fully intended for her and William Baldwin to have a romantic part in this film with each other. So I'm you know, I'm not saying she's a dog, but I've never seen her in that sort of role before.
No?
Especially in that outfit.
Yeah, I know, she's definitely not she's definitely not meant to look sexy in this.
You know, she's not wearing a dress or anything. You know, I don't know. Obviously, women can be hot wearing no matter what. But I didn't think that was the kind of role we were gonna get for her in this film, and we don't really.
No.
It was just a throwaway line.
Whenever
I've never
she's
seen her in that.
Well, whenever she's in a
Right.
horror film, she's always victim turns final girl turns strong female lead. That's that's
Halloween. She's a major virgin.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
the Jamie Lee trope.
Yeah,
That's what she's good at. So
yeah.
well, they get the ship up and running, and the ship starts screaming, and no one notices other than Jamie Lee because she's a woman, of course. You know
that female intuition.
And then it's now running itself, starts driving itself, and drops an anchor into the other boat and destroys it. This leads William Baldwin to become full action hero, chucks himself off and goes and saves Tattoo Face. Somehow, budget Brad Dourif.
Himself off.
He does.
Chucks himself.
Yeah. Did you not see how he just launched himself?
He
off
did.
off
Yeah.
off the ship?
Yeah. It's sort of. The way he launched himself, he shouldn't have landed the way he in like a perfect dive. He should have belly flopped.
Yeah. So he saves Tattoo Face, but somehow budget Brad Dourif survives as well and gets his kit off, changes his t-shirt.
Yeah, I think the whole idea was that budget Brad Dourif. This is terrible. What is his name?
I genuinely, I don't think they said his. They may have said his name, but I didn't get it.
No, I think the whole idea was that he was perfectly able to save Tattoo Face.
Yeah,
but didn't.
Well, he and Richie go to find Squeaky in the engine room. We get to see a robot spider, and Squeaky gets strangled and pulled off screen. Not pulled off as in he got wanked off. He got launched off the screen by these wires.
Did he get chucked off?
Yeah.
Yeah, into some sort of tunnel or something.
Yeah. Then Richie and Budget Brad find some weapons and start stealing them. And then Richie tells Budget Brad Dourif that you can never be too rich, too thin, or too well armed.
Yeah.
The three never be too things to live by. Tattoo Face wants to open a school with his money.
Yeah, we get a slight bit of character development. So, Tattoo Face has had a bit of wood to the leg, and he's bleeding. And Jamie Lee Curtis, as a navigator of a ship, suddenly knows how to stitch up wounds. It is a weird one because I'm gonna bring it up now. Is that Jamie Lee Curtis is just a navigator of a ship. You know, basic first aid, yeah, I can believe.
She could do anything.
But she's there and she's stitching it up like she's a fucking surgeon. And when she turns into action hero mode, it's a bit like, have you had military training? You know, you are just a navigator of a tugboat.
Well, do you know what? This is actually quite good female representation because really she's the most useful person on that boat. All the men are fucking useless apart from William Baldwin.
I would say that until later on in the film, and I'll slightly bring it up now, she does get a little wimpy at points towards the end.
But then there's another female character who's saving her. So I still think...
Yeah.
This film's got its female representation down.
Yeah, and I don't feel like Jamie Lee Curtis would take a role that didn't have some form of positive female representation. You know, even someone like Laurie Strode, who is the quintessential victim in horror cinema, really, other than her mother in Psycho, you know, very famous victims. Even she's resourceful.
Yeah.
You know, she's a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
It's, even in roles that maybe could have been a little iffy, I think she's always had good representation.
Yeah. Well, we get someone bursting on the conversation about what they'll all do with their money and start shooting around, wearing a gas mask. And we find out that it's the girl from the start, it's Nadia.
Yeah, what I don't get is, so she's the sole survivor on this ship. Are we being led to believe that she's been in that cupboard or whatever it was, wearing a gas mask for 7 days?
7 days?
7 days, not 7 months.
Oh, yeah.
For 7 days.
Yeah,
and
7 days.
You know,
yeah.
does she not need to go to the toilet at any point? If everyone else has been killed by these machines...
Well, she's packed all the essentials because they go through her bag and she's got cigarettes, hairspray and grenades.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a standard trip out on a ship somewhere. What does she need the fucking grenades for? Why don't you just take them with her?
What do you mean?
Like, why... If she was just doing some sort of space exhibition thing on this ship, why did she take grenades with her? Why are they in her bag?
Yeah, actually, what's the whole point of the ship?
It's like a space exhibition.
It's called, but it's called Academic Vladislav Volkov. Why is there so many fucking weapons in the ship? I don't know. Maybe they're just using a warship for space exploration. I don't know.
Well, she wakes up because they knock her out, and she says to turn the power off because they're all gonna die. It's gonna kill them all. This actress is a little iffy. She has a few iffy dialogue delivery moments.
My assumption is that she's not Russian.
Yeah, we might be wrong, but it's a good chance to put on accent.
Although you're not particularly good at accents.
Well, you know.
Do you remember when we watched Devil Wears Prada the other night?
Well, I've never heard Emily Blunt doing English, her actual accent before.
Gary said, "Oh, Emily Blunt's doing a terrible English accent." I'm like, she is English.
It's not the point. Can you find out this girl's actually Russian, please?
Oh God.
Yeah, so she runs off. Jamie Lee Curtis goes for a chase to go find her, and that's when she reveals her name's Nadia. And she gives us some exposition.
She does. She does help us out a lot by explaining every detail that we need.
Yes, that the ship's been taken over and that it sees humans as a virus. Yeah. She then gets tied up. Did you find out she's...
Yeah, she was Polish.
Oh, okay.
Polish, which is close enough, I suppose. But not quite Russian.
Yeah, so it was a fake accent.
Yeah.
You could tell. So she gets tied up. Richie and Budget Brad Dourif find some machines. And this is where the practical effects really kick in. And it looks fucking great. It looks really, really good.
It really does.
And this is where the film starts getting good as well. This is where it gets really entertaining. And it's just like... pretty much something happening every few minutes.
Yeah, sometimes it's the same thing happening every few minutes. Admittedly, but you know, once these robots start attacking properly, and I am going to call them robots. I don't know what we're meant to think of them as.
We do refer to them as machines.
Yeah.
So Budget Brad Dourif gets shot, and we get a Terminator ripoff who starts having a gunfight with William Baldwin, who's now with Richie and Budget Brad. And
yeah, so Bridget.
Fuck's
sake. Budget Brad, he gets shot with a couple of nails, doesn't he?
He does,
with a nail gun. And they're down this corridor and they can't get through the door to get to Squeaky.
Squeaky, yeah.
And then we get this shadowy figure at the end of the hall, and then we see that it's Budget Terminator, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a human face.
I can't really say Budget, though, because, I mean, it's definitely not Budget. It looks fantastic.
No, I suppose so,
It's just Terminator rip-off.
Yeah, Terminator rip-off. And then it's a quick cut, so we don't actually see
we get a hard cut to Nadia saying you're all going to die. In a really weird voice.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of when it does that, and I wish it would just show us. But yeah, it goes back to the deck.
Yeah.
And Nadia tells them that we're all going to die.
And then Donald starts threatening to shoot her. Jamie Lee gets in the way. It's like, Donald, fuck off. Stop being a prick. And they capture the Terminator rip-off somehow.
Yeah, so it annoys me because we didn't see how this happened. But
the last time we seen him, he was just constantly shooting at him. How did they stop him?
Yeah, so they bring him and put him on the table, and it appears that it's a robot, but with pieces of human flesh.
Yeah, like random pieces of human flesh. Like, not in a Terminator sort of way, like more like if Leatherface was a robot.
Yeah. But then Nadia's saying, oh, this is the captain of the ship, it's his face. And I'm like, oh, how do you... Because the captain was my husband. So was she having an affair with the cosmonaut?
She must have been having an affair then, yeah.
She must have been having an affair.
Yeah. Yeah, she only knows his husband because he's got a ring on his finger.
Yeah.
But then she goes through the whole backstory again, but a bit more detailed this time. And
again, I'm not sure.
She says
surely
essentially
she must have needed a shit at some point in those 7 days. Killed her on the toilet.
She says essentially this thing is creating a new life form using parts of the ship and its crew, which is a good premise. I mean, again, not original, but it's a good premise. Then the Terminator ripoff comes back to life and is shot down straight away. And Donald has said he's not going to listen to any more Russian bullshit.
Yeah, so no one really believes so. I suppose it is a weird... I don't know.
I think Jamie Lee does.
But you've seen these... So everybody's seen these robot things come to life. These mechanical, objects, either in the form of a human figure or an insect. So you got to think something weird's going on.
Yeah.
You got to think there might be a little truth to her story. Why would she just be there making it all up? Like, but Donald Sutherland don't believe her. I think everyone else is thinking, oh, okay. So this is starting to, come together, but we're not 100% sure.
Well, then the Terminator ripoff turns into a Thing ripoff. Its head bursts up out of its body and gets shut down straight away, though. Did you notice that?
Yeah. These robot things aren't very powerful, really.
No.
They're easily sort of shot down.
Apart from the big one at the end.
Yeah, but it's not like the Terminator that can take a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Squeaky has now turned into the cameraman Cenobite from Hellraiser 3.
Oh my god, yes!
That is exactly who he looks like.
Oh, he does.
He's been taken over by a robot, but he looks just like... You'd think he was modelled after the cameraman Cenobite from Hellraiser 3.
But also a bit like the Borg from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Because he's got a camera for an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew he looked familiar.
So he starts attacking... He essentially just keeps calling William Baldwin. He's like, Stevie. It's like the only thing he knows how to say. Then this giant fucking robot appears. And essentially this is your big baddie. This is your main one. He punches a hole in Budget Brad Dourif's chest.
Yes.
So we don't have to struggle saying his name now for the rest of the film.
Yeah, it was an alright gory practical effect.
Yeah, really good.
So we're finally getting a bit of the horror now.
Yeah.
Element to this film, rather than the love boat element.
Yeah, pretty much. They all gather into a room, and they have their radio. They try to call for help, and Donald shoots it.
Yes.
Claims no one else has taken his salvage, and then he gets a punch in the face from our queen.
He does.
Jamie Lee Curtis knocks him out. Well, I mean, not out, but knocks him to the ground at least. And
she says, "I'm the captain now."
Yeah. Richie starts having a chat with a robot via computer.
Yeah, they're having a little. He's typing it in, and then the computer's speaking it, isn't it?
Yeah, computer's like, "You are virus."
Yeah, so now we get the whole idea surrounding the name of this film, and I don't know. Should it have been called Virus? Not really.
No.
So the whole idea is that actually the humans are the virus within this computer. It's 1999. There's still this whole idea of computer viruses and shit like that. This is pre Y2K, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea is that this boat is now some form of mega computer being controlled by this aliens.
Yeah.
And that the humans within that ship are the virus that they need to get rid of. But then also the idea is that they want to take parts of the humans as if they're scrap and use... I don't get that part. What I don't get is why are they trying to make the machines look like humans?
Just for horror elements. I don't think it's an actual reason behind it.
Yeah, and you know what? If I'm ever guilty of anything when we come to looking at these films, is that I look way too much into logic. way too much. So, logically, I don't understand why they're trying to form, these lifelike human figures as machines. Like, what's the point? If they're just going to go around killing people anyway. If they're like a supercomputer alien, what's the point?
True. But, yeah, I don't think it was meant to be realistic.
Okay.
Cenobite Squeaky bursts through the room, shouts, "Stevie," again. Richie shoots him and shouts a bunch of random shit, which you can't hear because the gun noises are far too loud. Donald's not getting over this punch. He's like, "You punched me."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, dare you punch your captain."
Jamie Lee's like, "Fuck you."
She is, yeah.
And that's not even me exaggerating this time. She actually says, "Fuck you." And then they all run off on Donald. He gets a little lonely, starts chatting to the computer, and they become BFFs.
Yeah, so Donald's sort of selling himself to the computer as a higher being. And therefore, more important than the rest of them, and he's not a virus because he's so much better than the others, because he's the captain of a tugboat.
It's the way he's like, "I am the captain of Sea Star," or whatever it's called. It's like, okay, really? That famous boat, Sea Star. Yeah.
Sea Star. So he goes to sort of see this.
Yeah, he goes to their flesh workshop.
Yeah, and I don't know.
It essentially looks like what I can imagine David Cronenberg's living room looking like.
Yes, yeah.
Machinery, doing plenty of body horror, and taking apart bodies and putting them together and such. But he goes there to snitch on the crew. He's like, "Hunt, you are never going to believe what those bitches are saying about you." And he scores a deal to become a robot.
Yeah, he does. I'm not sure if that was his intention. I'm not sure if his intention was to become a robot. I mean, he does, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he was trying to gain.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't sure. I know, I genuinely, I wasn't sure what he was trying to gain from it, because, you know, who's going to pay $300 million for a boat that's trying to kill people?
Yeah, I think he just felt like he belonged with them. He just needs some friends.
It's an easy way out, maybe. He was suicidal anyway, wasn't
Yeah.
he? So maybe he did want to just become a robot.
Well, the remaining crew, apart from Richie, who is setting up a bomb, it appears, but maybe not. You find out a little later on.
Yeah, so Richie helps us out by talking to himself.
Yeah.
And explaining that he was 6 years in the Navy as a weapons specialist. So that explains why he's so good with weapons, and, you know, it'll help the film make sense as it goes along.
Yeah. The remaining crew climb onto the top of the ship to get somewhere else, and Tattoo Face gets washed off it. Just like that?
Yeah, so I really struggled with that scene, but just previous to that scene, it seemed a lot, and I'm going to use the Scooby-Doo reference again, where, the gang, that didn't include Richie or Donald Sutherland, every corner they turn, there seemed to be some sort of robot.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, jinkies. Or whatever it is that Scooby-Doo says, and then they shoot it down, and there's a lot of that throughout the film, and to continue as well. Where they just turn a random corner, or someone breaks through a door and it's this robot, and then they shoot it down, and so finally they're on the surface of the boat.
Yeah.
They're in the other part of the typhoon, because the boat's been, or the alien computer machine thing has been driving the boat obviously out of the typhoon, so they're within that now. And I can't see a fucking thing.
No.
This was
back to being the perfect storm again.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a dampener on this part, because it's really starting to get, the action's really starting to pick up. And then I'm like, oh, someone's just fell off the boat. I have no idea who that is. Jamie Lee Curtis goes flying somewhere. She... I said this at the time.
Oh yeah, she puts the coat on.
She's so all the bit where she's been below deck, she's had in very 1999 her coat tied around her waist.
Yeah.
And now we're on the surface. She's actually put the coat on.
Yeah, she's being chased by a massive killer robot, but she still has time to put a coat on so she doesn't get too wet.
A killer robot. She's got the coat on. She knows it's going to be chilly out there. It's going to be a bit wet, a bit rainy. So she better put that coat on.
Yeah,
and
sensible.
Then she gets swept away. But the tattoo face gets properly swept away.
This is why she survives. She's sensible. You know.
We don't see him again, do we?
No, he's dead now. Just like that. They go back into the ship, and Baldwin then realises that they need to sink the ship. And just when he comes up with this brainwave, Donald pays him a visit. He's now a robot. And he says, "You don't recognise me." Well, we recognise that shitty accent, Donald. We know it's you.
I recognise his face. Yeah, I don't get that. But he's... I don't understand... So his face is obviously Donald Sutherland's face. The legs and, the sort of bottom half of him, a robot. But is he wearing a t-shirt or something?
I think that was his chest.
I couldn't figure out what his sort of top half was doing.
I think that was his chest.
Did he have a star tattoo?
Maybe. Well, he gets his revenge because he's still got beef with Jamie Lee because she punched him, and he punches her.
Yes.
And Nadia decides to copy Terminator a bit, shoves a grenade in him, and they go and duck, and he explodes.
Yeah, so what, should have been quite a big baddie of the film.
Yeah.
Real antagonist, is just blown away quite easily.
Yeah.
I think maybe because Donald Sutherland...
oh yeah, he hated being in the makeup for that.
Hated being in the makeup and was literally like, you have one day to get this done. So, for one day I think they did alright.
But again, his practical effects look great.
Absolutely.
And then Richie's gone a little crazy. He says he has his own plan. And Baldwin starts setting up the explosives. And then the giant robot attacks, and now this is your big baddie who you got for the rest of the film. It's the one from earlier. He knocks Jamie Lee Curtis. I say he. I'm assuming this robot's gender. It knocks Jamie Lee Curtis into a pool of corpses, starts chasing her, and captures her.
Yeah, so this is where she falls into... And admittedly, I think if anyone fell into a big soup of dead bodies...
Yeah.
Like she did, you'd be a bit like, oh... But, you know, she's seen weird stuff already that she didn't react like this to. She's like, oh...
Yeah, it's a lot of dead bodies.
But she's seen dead bodies, like... You know, sewn onto mechanical parts. Sorry. Maybe.
Oh, Chris, you're so brave.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how I'd react in that situation.
Well, they start... they tie her up, the robot. Well, the robot ties her up. Examines her, starts questioning her. Richie... Baldwin and Nadia come out and start shooting at the robot, but then Richie does one better and fucking shoots a grenade launcher at him. A rocket launcher, should I say.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's that 6 years in the Navy as a weapons specialist. Yeah. So the information that the robot's trying to get from Jamie Lee is where are the explosives. So they know the plan now is to blow up the boat a la Alien.
Yeah, pretty much.
Aliens, excuse... Oh, they're doing both.
Yeah, they're doing both.
So that plot point is, you know, is very familiar to us. But I don't understand how this all-seeing, all-knowing, you know, computer, you know, that controls the CCTV, as has been shown, can see through the CCTV cameras, doesn't know where the explosive is.
I know, yeah, it's true.
He knows it exists, but not where they are. But again, sorry, trying to bring logic to the table. I'm so sorry.
Well, the robot isn't killed by the rocket launcher. Comes back, separates Jamie Lee and Nadia from the other two. Richie's killed. He's impaled on something.
Yeah, after saving the day.
But the robot gets hold of the detonator and crushes it in front of Nadia and Jamie Lee and says, checkmate.
Yeah, well, Nadia had said that earlier, hadn't she?
Oh, she did.
Nadia had said that, so because...
Sassy robot.
Well, you know, being a Russian, she loves chess,
yes.
as was shown at the beginning of the film. So when she set up the detonator originally, she said, checkmate. And then... So the computer was aware of that.
Mm-hmm. But not aware of where the
explosives were. So it makes a little joke at her expense, but why? Because it can only hear her say checkmate. Anyway, sorry.
Well, Chris, this is the purpose of this podcast. We're here to pick apart these films.
Yeah.
Nadia sacrifices herself, shoots a gas tank, saves Jamie Lee Curtis's life.
Yeah, she does actually. Bless her.
Bless her in a terrible accent.
Bless her.
The robot's still alive. Chases Jamie Lee, who's now reunited with Alec Baldwin, and with the other Baldwin, William Baldwin, chases him.
And this is where she's a little wimpy. She was a little wimpy with Natalia. What was her name?
Nadia. Jesus, she only died a couple of seconds ago.
Sorry, easily forgotten, but always in our hearts. Yeah, she was a little wimpy with her, and now she's like, "Oh, William, I can't carry on. I can't go on." I'm like, that's not the Jamie Lee we've seen for the rest of the film. I didn't get that. I wasn't.
Well, I mean, she's been chased by a robot for God knows how long.
Yeah, no, I understand
a bit tired.
that, but you know, Ellen Ripley didn't say that, did she?
No.
And if you're gonna be a rip-off of Ellen Ripley, you better not be going around telling people that you can't carry on.
Well, she doesn't have to worry about that for much longer because William Baldwin straps her to a launching thing for missiles.
Yeah, I didn't really get what this was.
Yeah, it's kind of like an ejector seat, essentially, but it was made from missiles, and they both launched themselves off like a rocket.
No, to a rocket.
Well, yeah, technically it's tied to a rocket.
Yeah, so there's these, like, you know, rocket launchers or missile launchers, and so the idea is, and the idea was given by Richie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was like, go to the whatever room, and that's the way out. And he was, Stephen Baldwin was like, oh,
Stephen Baldwin?
what's the fuck is his name? Okay, his name is Stevie. He's played by William Baldwin, so you can understand why I keep getting confused, because there is a real Stephen Baldwin. So William Baldwin is like, oh, how? And he's like, you'll know when you get there. No, just explain it. These people's lives at stake. You know, explain it. Explain what you mean. But seemingly he understands, and, you know, being a specialist on Russian boats, as everybody seems to be, he knows exactly how to launch a missile at the drop of a hat. So he was going to send Jamie Lee by herself, weren't he?
Yeah. She grabbed him.
And then she grabs him and straps him in, and they're tied to a rocket?
Or something.
They're tied to something, and so this rocket shoots off with them at the back. The little iffy CGI at this point.
Yeah.
And they, like, release some sort of parachute. But I don't understand, if you're tied to a missile, surely you're gonna explode.
Yeah.
I know the string, and I know the rope was fairly long. You know, they weren't. It's not as if, it's not the end of Doctor Strangelove. They're not riding it, but if you're, you know, tied to it still, aren't you dead, or aren't you, you know, miles and miles and miles away?
Yeah, I that made no sense at all.
Yeah, I didn't get how they saved themselves from the back of a fucking missile without dying.
Yeah. But it somehow works. The ship explodes, and then another ship from far away, like, notices this, and their captain says, "That's one hell of a flare." No, that is a ship exploding, clearly.
That is a ship exploding. Potentially hundreds of people have died, and you're making a joke.
Jamie Lee has Alice from Friday the 13th moment.
Yes, come on, fake ending.
She has a nightmare where she sees tattoo face with half his face, like, gone, and grabs her, but she wakes up and it's all alright. Her and Baldwin have flown away to safety, and that's the end of the film.
Fabulous.
There we go, happy ending. Captain Birdseye with a happy ending.
Yeah. So, ultimately, I know we pick apart these films, and I gave it, IMDb wise, 5 out of 10. So it's somewhere in the middle. You know, it's an average film. It doesn't even borrow.
No, it
steals so much from other films. It really genuinely does.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make a complete arse of it.
No, it's
I
don't know what a big deal's about. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfectly entertaining. You could throw that film on any time for mindless fun. It's so enjoyable and entertaining.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've even got your laughable moments. You know, anything that Donald Sutherland's in, any of his scenes.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't complain that much about it.
It was alright.
It's fine. So sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis. It's not the worst film ever made. Embrace it, girl. Embrace this film.
It's not your worst film either. Christmas with the Cranks is.
Halloween Resurrection.
I know I keep going on about it, but I fucking hate Christmas with the Cranks.
Halloween Resurrection.
Awful. I haven't seen Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, damn. She's only in 10 minutes of it, but the rest of the film is horrendous.
Oh,
yeah, so Virus, absolutely fine. Recommend it, you know.
It ain't a trash-to-piece, it ain't a masterpiece, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah?
Next week, though, we do have a true trash-to-piece.
Trash-to-piece?
Fuck's sake. Trash-to-piece. This is a request episode. I can't remember who requested it. It's on the notes. I'm going to have to look into that for next week. It was requested quite a while back, but we're still at the list. You know, we did promise we'll make our way through all of them. We're talking about Rawhead Rex.
I feel like this has a bit of a following.
This does have a cult following. Clive Barker adaptation.
Yeah, but he hated this film.
That he hates. Essentially, it looks like Tina Turner going around killing everyone, and more said on that next week. More said on that next week.
Specifically, Tina Turner from Mad Max.
Yeah, Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome. We don't think Tina Turner looks like Rawhead Rex, just so you know. I love Tina.
Well, that's not all. We'll also be coming at you on Friday with... Not coming at... Jesus.
No.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
At you, like that's so like 1996.
Not be... Well, I mean, we've just been talking about a 90s film. In a non-90s and non-ejaculating way, we'll be coming at you with our first originals versus remake episode, where we'll be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes. One of my favourite films. And the original that influenced it, so...
The remake's one of your favourite films?
That was the joke. That was the joke. No,
better be a joke.
No, the original is one of my favourite films. I could watch it, you know, all the time. And I do, and we do.
Mm-hmm.
And the remake is dog shit.
Well, spoiler alert. The whole idea of the original versus remake is that we're going to tell people what we think.
Oh, sorry. Stop, mate.
Pretend you didn't hear that. And act surprised when we tell you the same thing next week. And sit through a whole episode for it. If you're listening on iTunes, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Seriously, guys, just drop us a review. You know, if you like it, if you don't like it, whatever, just put something on there so we know it fucking works, because I have no idea at the moment. But thanks for those who...
no, don't put anything if you don't like it.
Yeah, actually, if you don't like it, just leave it. But if you like us, just say something nice.
Please.
I mean, thank you for the ratings we've had so far. We appreciate your 5 stars and the 1 4-star rating, whoever the fuck that was. Like and follow and everything else. If you like what you hear, spread the word. Social media, talk to us about Virus. Did you enjoy it? Do you think it's awful, as bad as Jamie Lee Curtis makes it out to be? We're Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook and Instagram, Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. We are also separately, of course, on social media. Gazmo205 on Instagram, GazCruise92 on Twitter. Head over to Letterboxd as well. Dead like Gaz92. Been reviewing a lot of Hammer films recently.
Yes, I'm Chris Barker 823 on Instagram, Twitter, and that other one, Letterboxd.
That's the one.
Oh, we're getting a little messy at the end now, aren't we?
Well, I mean, it's not going to be as messy compared to next week. Well, not us, I mean the film. It's going to be a messy film.
On that note...
On that note, stay off...
that's my point proven.
Stay off robotic cruise ships or whatever. Or Russian ships.
Yeah, give it a watch, Virus.
Give it a watch.
It's not Bergman. It's not Fellini.
Do you think anybody's listening to this podcast for Bergman?
Well, I hope so, because my next choice... No, joking. But yeah, okay. Thanks for listening.
See you the same time, same place next week.
Bye.